could do it all over again, there'd be no wish I woulds or should have beens. Spend that time with my family and friends.
There is an incredible museum exhibit in Indianapolis at the Children's Museum called The Power of Children. And it's like Anne Frank and Ruby Bridges.
Okay.
I'm missing a child, but they have Ryan White's bedroom. And I mean, the curators and his family deconstructed it piece by piece and reassembled it exactly how he left it.
How cool to see.
And I think he died in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I don't really remember exactly when. I was still young, but we had big console TVs. And so they play the videos of him and his story on the TV while you're in his bedroom.
Yeah.
It's
how moving.
It is a wildly, profoundly moving experience to be in his bedroom like that. But also, he was a little older than me, but I remember it so clearly how scared adults were. Yeah. And that was really my first experience with a pandemic or a virus or a fear of something out there that can get you.
Right, that you can't see necessarily.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember thinking that the adults were just sensationally
y'all are being ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Why are you acting like this?
Yeah. Even as a kid, you do not know what's going on, but the sensationalism and the just unbelievable fear, and just people were crazy and they were mean about it, Yeah. I just remember that.
As a kid, you can't grasp it.
Yeah, but it's wrong.
Right. Like, okay, I get there's something going on, but I don't feel
poor little boy
fear.
had hemophilia and ended up with AIDS and became a national symbol for something like that. Global, really.
Yeah.
When Princess Diana comes to see you.
I mean.
And this was in the 80s.
I mean.
So I always think of him at that stop in Kokomo, because you have to stop, and it's like a 4-way stop, and there's an old house. And
wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. I always think of him when I drive through there.
I will now as well. Kokomo was our halfway-ish point for kids to get off the bus and eat. And everyone, down in Kokomo.
Yes.
So now it's going to have a completely different meaning. But it just kind of, you could not have propped me up for a better segue to, so thank you.
Yes.
To how powerful history is and how it shapes us. And sticks with us. And without historians, storytellers, I feel that some of that gets lost. Being from a different area, as I said, when I came in.
Well, you're right. You're right about the power.
Yeah.
But the power of history, it belongs with the people. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, a real shift, because you said historians and storytellers. Yeah. And that's crucial because I think there's been a real big shift in the entire field of history, just like there's been a shift in humanity in the way that we look at how useful the past is as a tool. And one of the issues our field has really dealt with is that we're keepers or preservationists. Mm-hmm. And I have always had a problem with access, in that I wanted what was in the boxes. I want the stories out of the books. I know the stories aren't told in the best way, like we have changed the way that we do history because we know it has not been told wholly or comprehensively.
Interesting.
And it's generally from, the dead rich white guy.
Yeah.
Phase
who's telling the history.
Yeah. And Americans have, that's our story, right? We have founding fathers. Yeah. And that's the origin story of our nation has been told from that way, but we know better. 250 years later, we know better. And so I have always wanted in the history. And when I started learning and started my schooling, it was very clear, like, they don't want you opening those boxes.
They
Not
wanted
only
to
for
keep 'em-
care, there is collections care. There is care of artifacts, light, heat, humidity, water. Those things are very damaging to old objects. So I understand that there is a level of care.
from that part. Yeah.
But a lot of museums have just kept the stories out. And they're funded so poorly, they don't have enough people to get the stories out. So I'm like, I'm always history kind of crash course at the gas station, at the party, at the dinner party, at, wherever. I'm always like, did you know? I'm that girl.
I love that.
You know?
Do you remember that rainbow? It was like, the more you know.
Yes.
It was like a star.
It was a shooting
A
star.
shooting star. Yes.
With a rainbow
more
in the
you
back
know.
of it.
Everyone should have a Jessica in their life because honestly, the more we know about this area, I think the better informed we are when we make decisions. So
100%.
It can be on a grand scale or it can even be on small peanut scale. When we moved here, we didn't know where to buy a house. We weren't from here. So we're like, well, let's look for the cheapest. Well, sometimes that doesn't get you where you want to go. Let's look for, the good neighborhoods. Well, are we going off word of mouth? That makes a big difference.
What's good?
Yeah.
To who?
This is the best school. Oh, maybe it is, but who's telling that story?
Right.
And that made a big difference. We've gone from Louisville to Southern Indiana to Prospect, but now we're stationed, bought and paid for in Memphis, Indiana.
Memphis, Indiana? You chose
Yes.
Southern Indiana?
We did.
I'm so impressed.
We did that for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Following the history, it's as you know, very small town.
Oh, yeah.
I think the count was around 900 people. My family now like 905. But
you're adding to the population.
Yes,
sign.
so we, but there's a lot of history in it. People make comments about Indiana and corn. So when we were moving over here, we were like, what's the big deal? We were in Prospect. We're close to Indiana. I don't see any corn. Go out to Memphis.
Oh, yeah. Babe.
You pass, especially right now, corn the whole way. So I am a big believer in what you're teaching, preaching, saying. And I'm wondering if what you were saying about growing up and hearing that story, what led to just the career you chose and the path you chose? It's one thing to say, I love history. Like, I love museums, but it's on a different level.
I do not ever remember thinking that.
Oh, really?
No. When I'm Gen X.
Okay.
So I grew up, I was born in the 70s. I was a child of the 80s. I was a teen in the 90s,
Beautiful.
I started having a family in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I'm a Gen Xer through and through. In high school, and I went to a great high school, our history classes were they were easy for me, but I never gave them any mind.
Sure. Okay.
No, my parents were divorced. So my mom I told you, grew up on a
True.
hog farm in Indiana.
Gen Xer, yeah.
And my dad lived in DC. I was born outside of DC.
Cool.
So I remember being young and going to the White House and going to the archives.
Very cool.
I used to play and run around in Arlington National Cemetery. So
Very cool.
our nation's museums were my playground.
Yeah.
And so even then, it was just kind of part and parcel of what we did.
Sure.
When you're talking about that history, it's not just as a tool for what decisions we want to make. It embeds itself in our identity, right? Like where you're from, and what you do and how you grow up, your own sense of place and your own sense of belonging.
Yeah.
That history is part of you, whether you know it or not. And I didn't know it. I will always say, I think young people, just in my old age, I think young people are so focused, their thoughts are so forward thinking that they don't consider thinking back.
Right.
We don't really consider questions we should have asked our grandparents when they were alive, or
Yeah.
the stories that are told, whether they stick or not.
Right. Perspective.
We're always thinking forward when we're young, and then you get to a certain age and you kind of take stock of your life and where you've been. That's exactly what history does. So without knowing it, it was built into me because of my elders, my family connection, where my dad lived, because of where I was in the world.
Yep.
It was kind of baked in. I moved to Louisville the day after graduation from high school.
You were already
I was
planning it.
here.
Yeah, you were
right.
setting the foundation.
I've been here 30 years this year, and I think it's the best city in America. I love it. New Orleans is my second favorite, but they're kind of sister cities.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of time in Indiana. I spent a lot of time working in Southern Indiana, but I did not go straight to college after high school.
Sure. Took your time?
I tried. I failed miserably.
Yeah.
And back then, kids didn't have the help that we do today, right? That we
today.
give our children today. So it was a failure.
Different.
So, and I had a daughter before I decided to go back to school.
Which makes things very different.
Yeah. I had lost my job and I was waiting tables with a toddler at home, and my best friend was like, "You need to apply to school." And I was like, "That's so selfish. I can't go to school. I need to work."
Yeah.
I thought it was selfish to do something
Totally
for
get
myself with a daughter,
Right.
And she said, "If you go to school now, then you will be home. You will have a job and a career, and you'll be home when she needs you for homework. When she starts to go to school and kindergarten, and home for homework, you're going to need to be there with her at night. And now you're not home at night because you're waiting tables.
Right.
So now is the time to go." So I was like, okay.
That makes
And
sense.
I entered into the Jefferson Community and Technical College. I went to our local community college.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no idea what I was just like, let's just go in.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. I was 26 years old. And my first class, my first semester, like my first professor, my first assignment, it was like an epiphany moment. We had to do a book review. And that's when I learned the difference between a review and a report.
Oh, love it.
And so I went to I was on my way to the library to find a book, and there was a cut through. It's a building. It's called the Seminary building, and the cut through to the library wasn't open. It was closed off for construction, but no construction was going on. And I was like, I know about this door. I'm going to cut through in a place I shouldn't be. And as it was dark in there and old, I'll just never forget it. And I kind of looked over to the side, and there was a built-in bookcase. And there was this little tiny book with gold letters, like shining off the side of the book in the dark.
Okay.
And I was like,
Spooky.
there's some books. And I went over there and I pulled it, and it was called The History of Louisville from its First Settlement to 1852.
Oh,
And I opened the book, and a map fell out. It was like attached, and a map fell out.
National treasure or something?
It was like magic. I'm not kidding. And I always say, like, you think you make choices in life. I'm going to come back to the seminary building. But I was like, it was just a magical moment. And I just stood in there, and I looked at the streets, and I found where I live, and I read a couple, flipped through the pages, and it talked about the first settlement on Corn Island, and which was settled by George Rogers Clark. And it talked about the Thanksgiving that they held, not as in the holiday, but in the practice. Sure. That when you achieved something great, like making it through the falls of the Ohio, they had a Thanksgiving, and they clipped greens from the side of the water and sauteed them in bear fat. And they had this feast. And I was like, I was there, girl. I was on Corn Island, it just came alive in my mind. And I looked up, and I was like, oh, I want to be a Louisville historian. I don't know anybody that wants to, I don't know any historians. I never even thought of that. And so I was like, oh, that is it. Yep. I did my report on that book. You know, I read the whole thing. And then I was like, the train just was like chugga. Sure. I was moving in that direction. That was it.
Yeah.
And so everything I did after that was based on that goal to become a Louisville historian. Mm-hmm. So the next thing I did was go look for the Louisville History Museum.
Oh,
we don't have one.
Like, not going to happen for me.
We don't have one. And I was like, this is one of the oldest cities in the United States. 1778. We are part of the 13 original colonies, and we don't have a museum. And so I would go to like our house museums and the Filson, and the Fraser wasn't a museum yet, you know, in those days. And this was 2004. You know, and I was like, and the Filson was very intimidating for a 26-year-old that had no idea what a collection was.
Right. Okay.
Walking in there was like, it costs money, you know what I mean? And it's a research facility. Scholars go there.
Okay.
It's not a museum.
It's not let's have fun here.
I mean, I have fun there, but I'm a nerd about it, you know? So it just, and then I went to the homes, and I went to Farmington and Locust Grove and the Thomas Edison House, and I went to all the old places. But the history of the city was told through the homes left behind.
Interesting.
And that was pretty much it. And so I won this national scholarship. Mm-hmm. And at the end, the scholarship was for transfer scholars. So once you leave community college, going to a 4-year college, it was a very specific scholarship, but it was out of Washington, D.C., and it was a full ride for my entire education, including my master's degree.
Wow.
Like it was a six-figure scholarship win, and it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
But I won it.
It's exciting.
And I transferred to U of L, and I got in the paper, and the great Tom Owen, who I love and adore, who is Louisville's historian, took me out to lunch, and I said something in the paper. I want to be the next Tom Owen.
Yeah.
And so he was like, who's trying to take my job? You know, and was very sweet and took me out to lunch. But that conversation changed the direction of my life, because I was talking to him about like, we don't have a history museum, and there's no access, and how do I get to this, and that. And he said, well, I think it's great you want to do Louisville history, but no one's going to hire you. That's not a job.
Oh. Well,
if you want to be a historian, you're either going to be an academic historian, which is research, teach in school.
Right.
And I was like, babe, no,
not for me.
there's only so much more school I can handle. Keep in mind, I'm still raising a child.
Yeah.
I was also playing roller derby at the time.
Really?
I'm a founding member of our local roller derby.
I've heard a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a very active person.
Yeah, you had stuff.
Yeah. So he said, and I was like, and I don't like the kind of ivory tower attitude about history. You know, it's very like a library.
Elite.
It seemed very elite.
Yeah.
And I'm from a hog farm, girl. I am of the people. And so I wanted in. Yeah. And he was like, well, if you want to change it, then you got to be in charge. And I was like, done.
Oh, that I'll do.
So I was very successful as an academic historian in school. And my advisors were like really excited to see where I would go for grad school. And I was like, I'm getting a business degree.
Oh, hey.
And they're like, please don't. We need you in the field. I was
here.
like, I'm coming back.
I'll be back.
So I went to Spalding University and got a master's in business, and it's in organizational leadership. They also had a nonprofit track, but I stayed with the organizational leadership side, and and every project I did was about Louisville history through the lens of business. Oh, and then I came out and was like instantly hireable.
Okay.
Because I was a historian with a business degree.
Oh, and that changed everything.
And most people had doctorates in Revolutionary War history. or a doctorate in like I didn't want to know everything about one thing. I wanted to know a little bit about everything. So especially because I was looking at my profession as this city and this region and this place. So if I only knew about enslavement, then how would I know about Native American relations? How would I know about the civil rights movement? How would I know about all the ways that this city has grown? I mean, it's an ancient place.
Right. So you need to be able to spread yourself over all of it versus an isolated event.
Right. And then I just found out like museums they're in trouble financially, systemically. I mentioned earlier, they're funded so poorly. Many, almost all have a lack of resources when others have so many resources and, run it a certain way. You know, I've worked in places that had everything, but no connection to the community, just willfully.
Okay.
So
that balance is off.
There's a change in the last 20 years in going from the academic historian as the leader of the organization, to the fact that we have to run our businesses better.
Right.
These are economic drivers. These are cultural generators. They are anchors to communities, and people need them. They are vital to our civic fabric of a community in order to give citizens a sense of place.
Right.
But it's not going to work if you've got one lady running her Excel spreadsheet that nobody else knows how to use.
Always.
You know what I mean? Or the mindset of scarcity and even the guided tour model. We say a lot of times in our field that our competition is not each other. Our competition is Netflix. In this town, our competition is charcuterie boards. Like the price of membership to an organization like ours, to a local museum, is the cost of 2 cocktails. A family membership is like the price of dinner at El Nopal.
Wow.
Which we do all the time.
Right.
But we would never think to send a check for $100 to a local museum.
Yeah.
We spend that money like it's nothing. 2 cocktails with a tip, that's $40. You can have access to your city's history for that.
Yeah.
But people just don't think like that, right?
Why? Why do you think that is? You think it's a disconnect somewhere? I
think the disconnect has been going on for a long time. Like I said, the keepers, there's also our economy, our social capital is experiences, right? And so you remember your field trip experiences. You remember going there when you had to go for a class,
sure,
right? But what experience are you going to have at a local museum? You're going to walk through an old house with someone telling you an old dusty story that doesn't make sense to you. Like the houses don't always come alive with that model. So I told you, I'm not like most museum directors.
Yeah.
I love to turn things inside out and upside down,
But people need that.
They need to see the site differently.
Yeah.
In my work at Locust Grove, I say, I want to transform the idea of what a historic site can be to people.
Yeah.
Because it belongs to you. It's a National Historic Landmark. It's a Louisville Metro Park. That is public land.
Yeah.
It is meant for the people. I cannot keep it from the people.
Right.
My job is to make sure there is a connection to the community. And I've kind of always felt that way, that like I said, I'm of the people. The history belongs to the people. And we make all sorts of assumptions of how they are supposed to get it.
Yeah.
But it's as individual as
sure,
as a person.
Yeah.
As
it can be. Yeah. So you mentioned that when you moved to Louisville the day after, because you were like, this is the best city ever. I'm interested. Why do you think that?
Oh, there is such life here.
Yeah.
I could feel it, right? You, number one, it's so green. A hog farm in Indiana is not a green place.
Sure, it doesn't sound great.
And, I spent my summers in DC, which was like the most multicultural environment.
Right.
So I go from monoculture to multiculture So coming to Louisville, especially in the 90s, it was fun.
Okay.
It was, I can tell you what I remember, like crossing that bridge, the vista, just the beauty of coming into the city. It was green, the rain, the smell, it has that smell.
Yeah.
There was pulse and life. There used to be a fountain in the middle of the river. I-65 used to be known for its incredibly clever billboards. So when you would go through Hospital Curve, what we now call Hospital Curve, that was the funnest part about driving into the city was seeing the billboards. They were so clever and so witty and kind of funny. I did not know about the Highlands until I was a teenager. So I just thought Hikes Point was it. That's where my grandparents lived.
Sure.
But I remember a lot of really great people. My grandmother was a teacher at an elementary school. My granddad was a printer.
Okay.
And so my grandma also volunteered at Norton Hospital. So she would take me to the library. The Science Center was the museum I remember going to.
Yeah, love the Science Center.
But
My kids love it.
I definitely remember missing the connection to the water. Like I wanted to go as a kid. I want to go to the river.
Sure.
And
Big
it's like
one.
this massive monster, right? That we had no access to. Back then, the waterfront was piles of coal and gravel.
Really?
Yeah, it was very undeveloped.
Yeah.
But the Waterfront Development Corporation has done 40 years worth of work to clean all of the industrial up.
Yeah.
So let's take it back to history. Why in the world would we not have access to the reason we exist? Because it nearly killed us. It killed a lot of people. It nearly wiped this town out. The 1937 flood was a devastating historical event.
Yeah.
And so we cut ourselves off from the water to prevent that from happening again. And then 50 years later, it's a literal dump.
Yeah. And a toxic waste river. I've heard, I've been warned. That's the other thing. What schools you go to, stay out of the river.
Stay out of the river.
I've got a handful
places.
of things. Yeah. Where people just said it's full of bad stuff and don't go near it.
I think it is the most polluted body of water in the United States for like 10 years in a row now. But think about what gets put in the water and think about where it starts.
Yeah.
The Ohio River begins in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
And comes to St. Louis. It's 1,000 miles of industrial dump. Of course.
Of course you shouldn't swim in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I'll go upriver. I
rebel.
swim in it. I do swim in it. It doesn't.
I mean, you're fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Also, that's why we have the best drinking water in the country.
The other thing we've heard.
Of course.
You can drink Louisville water. It's the best in the country.
Straight out of the tap. It's the
That's
best
what
out
they
of the
say.
country.
Yeah.
The water tower has an incredible museum that tells you how we get it because Louisville used to be called the graveyard of the West. It was a sick place. It was low-lying swamp area. And there were many Indian mounds here. Don't let anyone ever tell you that no one lived here, that this was a common shared hunting ground.
Sure.
That was a lie invented by historical figures to kind of hide the fact that they desecrated sacred mounds to fill in the ponds. There were many, many ponds. So there was bilious fever, malaria. It was just pestilence. It was a sick place. Yeah. So it was hard to get this town started because there was just a lot of really poor infrastructure. Yeah. In frontier pioneer times.
You get it.
But they desecrated sacred mounds to fill in the ponds and clean up the water. the whole life of this city, every single thing about this city is because of the water. How it was built, how the neighborhoods are, what floods, what doesn't flood. And segregation reflects that. The way our neighborhoods are built reflects the choices made in building the city on what floods and what doesn't flood.
Oh, interesting.
So that's why those out of the floodplain have more means than those in the floodplain. So going back to the river, the water tower has this great exhibit of kind of how we've developed our water infrastructure. And it's like, it's a marvel of human history. They draw the water from 100 feet below the river bed.
Okay.
So the river already is super deep, dozens of feet.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 to 3, it could be 30 or 40 feet deep in some places. So you go all the way down, and then you're pulling the water from 100 feet under that.
Wow.
So it gets filtered through all the limestone. That's why Kentucky is so great, because we've got this ancient limestone. That's why the horses are better, because they drink limestone filtered water with minerals, so their bones are stronger.
Yeah.
All of it is because of the water and the limestone and the soil, and they all work together, right? It's incredible.
Yeah.
So we get limestone filtered water, and then it's filtered triple more times. So we have the most polluted body of water.
But don't worry
it
about
is
that.
the best to drink in the country. Because we figured it out. We figured it out, and we're still figuring it out.
Yeah. If we could get that over in Indiana, that'd be great.
Indiana water tastes real bad.
That's rough.
I know.
Why is it sometimes brown?
I know.
It's such a bummer.
I always say that river is more than a mile across. It's like a decade across.
It is.
And I worked in Southern Indiana for a long time. I ran the Culbertson Mansion in New Albany for nearly 10 years.
Cool.
And it's part of the Indiana State Museum and Historic Sites system.
Yeah.
So the Indiana State Museum is in Indianapolis, and they own historic sites throughout the state.
Okay.
And the Culbertson in New Albany is one.
Oh, okay.
Taking it back to the seminary building, when I said, you think you make choices in life.
Yeah.
I was very close to the Culbertson family. I learned everything about that family. I love it so much. And I always say, everything goes back to the Culbertsons. But I was sitting there one day reading will records of his last wife. And after he died, he was the richest man in Indiana. He was like a Gilded Age, like Astor's and Carnegie's.
Sure.
Mr. Culbertson was one of those.
Okay. Big shot.
And big shot.
Yeah.
The sweetest, most benevolent, kind person.
The best kind of big
just
shot,
like
then.
for good.
Yeah.
In the last bequest, so the last money that he spent, that they spent, the wife, was to save the seminary building from demolition.
Oh.
So it would, quote, be a place of learning for always.
Oh.
And fast forward 100 years till I get there and have an epiphany in the middle of a building about learning to go onto a path to end up in the same house.
That's why.
That. Those are the through lines that I see. The place where I'm from in Indiana is about 6-7 miles away from a town called Prophetstown, which was the home of the great Tecumseh and his brother, Tenskwatawa. These are Shawnee leaders. And Tecumseh, who is like the guy I grew up idolizing, learning about, became that way because he was in a battle against George Rogers Clark. And George scared him so bad, he swore he would be brave ever since.
Yeah.
And here I am going from Prophetstown to be in charge of the home of George Rogers Clark. Everything about my upbringing has led me to the point where I can walk into these homes and tell a better story and tell a whole story, not just about Mr. Culbertson, not just about George Rogers Clark, but about the dynamic between Tecumseh and George Rogers Clark.
Add an additional layer. To
Absolutely. That opens up the way I see the land,
Yeah.
right? The falls of the Ohio, the water, and, the Shawnee and Cherokee and so many tribes. They have been living in this town for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
And we talk about 250 years.
We don't even scratch the surface.
They had cities,
Yeah.
and there's no place their story is told.
Right.
Indiana, when we say it's the river is not a dividing line. It is the lifeblood and the connection between the two. And it's hard to get people to see that because the cultures are so different from one side of the river to the other.
Mm-hmm.
But the Shawnee, man, they were hiking up to Detroit all the time. Like it was nothing.
It was no big deal.
Like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
They're running down from Cincinnati to Detroit to Louisville to Lafayette to in and out this whole area constantly on foot.
So humbling. Yeah. And what are we doing? I actually think I went to a Camp Tecumseh.
Yeah, I bet.
Hearing you say that, it was so weird. My history up here said when you were in LaPorte, Indiana, you went to LaPorte Elementary School and you went to Camp Tecumseh.
Yeah.
I don't remember where it was, but I remember going there and when we drove up in the bus, there was a big mound and it was, him with the, a hat and some kind of spear.
Yeah.
And we
He's
stayed at the
amazing.
camp there. That's crazy.
I went to Tecumseh Middle School. We were the Tecumseh Braves.
Oh,
the
cool.
courthouse in Lafayette has carved limestone, It's got Thomas Jefferson, Tecumseh, and the Marquis de Lafayette on it.
Cool.
Tecumseh, I'll ask you, because I'm already telling you my answer is Tecumseh. If you could meet anyone, living or dead, from history, who would you pick?
Well, I'm going to pick who you pick because you know way more.
Well, for me, it's Tecumseh.
Really? That would be your choice.
Man, if I could hang out with Tecumseh girl.
Yeah.
He was so focused.
Mm-hmm.
He had such mission. His idea, the whole reason why Camp Tecumseh and Tecumseh Middle School and all we learn about him is that his role was the pan-Indian movement, was that if you are native or indigenous to these lands, we have to work together to defeat the whites, right? Because obviously tribes had been warring against each other for time immemorial, right?
Yeah.
And they were using settlers and colonists against each other because they brought horses and guns and all sorts of new technology that they did not have before. And so
intimidating, and
they would use them against each other. And so Tecumseh of his generation was saying, let's everybody band together. And his goal was bound by water, the Great Lakes at the top, the Mississippi River to the west, and the Ohio River to the south. That's what he wanted. His ask was that every indigenous tribe come together and that be their lands. We can all live just fine.
Yeah.
So it's basically Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, coming down from Pittsburgh to the Great Lakes, bound by water. Like, this will be our place.
Yeah.
And reject the white ways.
Sure.
And we can all live in harmony together in
Do
this
our
space.
thing. Yep.
They were never going to let him do it.
Right.
And he was a warrior. He was brave and focused. And he was that way because George Rogers Clark scared him so bad that he ran from the battlefield when he was 12 years old. And when a young, brave a Shawnee warrior turns 12, it's not necessarily turns 12, but puberty. That's the age when you become a hunter, warrior, man.
Yep.
And you have to prove yourself. And he lost his father, so he had this older brother named Chisikau. I just love the story so much. And so he was and he had a little brother who shot his eye out trying to hunt with a bow and arrow, I think. I I cannot remember his name before, because he later became Tenskwatawa, which is the prophet. Basically, he fell into a fire and died for 3 days and awoke.
Yikes. Okay.
Sat straight up
Hello.
and then just started spouting this vision. And the brother was a bad guy. He beat his wives. He couldn't hunt because he had one eye. Yeah. He was drunk a lot. He was just a disgrace of a brave, And so the brother, Tecumseh's older brother, was like a great warrior, and he looked up to Chisikau, and his younger brother was just like an absolute mess. So he's the just typical middle child, And Tenskwatawa ends up having this vision, and they call him the prophet, and they all move to northern Indiana, and all the tribes would come, the Wiyah, the Miami, the Piankashaw, Potawatomi, they would all come to Prophetstown to hear the prophet speak, while Tecumseh is going around and trying to convince all of the tribes to come together.
Love that.
And it didn't work. And I love Tecumseh.
Yeah, love that story because like any parable, right? You can find relatability, in a story to find bravery in yourself for things today.
Yeah.
So I love hearing that.
That's the thing about Louisville, right? Like, it only takes one scary general to scare a child into a lifetime of service for his people.
Right.
It only takes one red bike to be stolen from a gym to create the greatest Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Right? It's one act, one thing that can happen, especially in this city, that can change the
everything.
world.
Yeah.
And this city has produced world changes. The Happy Birthday song is the best example. It is the most famous song in the world. It is the most sung song across the entire world.
Yeah.
And it was two sisters in Louisville trying to help immigrant kids get off the street and get into school. And they would make up little songs, and they thought the black folks selling their wares and their jingles that they made up were just the cute little, we can use those in the classroom. The jingles are so easy that a child could hear it once and easily repeat it. So they start collecting melodies from the black street criers and using them in a classroom for kindergarten, and it turns into the most famous song in the world.
I love that.
Like
Did
this.
not know that. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't know the Happy Birthday song was from
that.
here?
No, I've learned so much. I could sit and this is how I felt when I was talking to Katie, the paranormal historian.
Yeah.
It's the exact feeling of, how has it already almost been an hour? I need 6 more.
Girl, I could talk all day about
I could
history.
listen all day. I could just be a listener because there's so much to just completely different fields. Y'all are completely different in
I love those
what you're
ghosts,
doing.
though.
Oh, man.
I love hearing that
good.
there's a paranormal historian.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a cool thing.
I think she said because she teaches, and it's parapsychology. So
Cool.
I'm telling you, it was so cool.
Here's the thing that's like how they connect, though, right? Is that, and this is kind of the way I've always thought about it. Just because it's irreverent doesn't mean it's not legitimate.
Yeah.
Like when I worked at the Culbertson Mansion, it's a 25-room Victorian mansion. The first thing I did was turn it into an active clue board. And we held clue parties. And people came to dress up and drink and eat and search the mansion for clues. And we'd put a gun in the baby's hand and the baby in the carriage hand. Like we'd hide weapons.
Memorable.
Right.
Yeah.
So we created experiences that were irreverent, that had nothing to do with history.
Yeah.
But while people were there, they learned about where they were,
Yeah.
The paranormal people are like, ghosts aren't real. Well, great. That's what you believe, right? Like people would always ask, is this place haunted? Especially in old houses. Every old house I've lived in, is this place haunted?
Probably.
And I always say, do you believe in ghosts?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Start there.
Then it is.
Yeah.
You know, if they say, no, I don't believe it, then it isn't.
Then you're fine. Like, it's
Your
okay.
perspective and your experience in this place is what matters. It's not for me to say what is or isn't. It's for me to open your eyes to what is whatever you feel is around you.
Yeah.
That's why history is so personal.
I love it. I can't get enough of
It
this.
lives in everything we do. But I will say this as we're wrapping up. History is not about the past. It is about the future. It really is.
Why do you say that?
Going back to the first thing you said, we use it to make decisions. We use it to form our identities. It is a tool for what we do, how we become, how we see. Critical thinking, Lord, please bring back critical thinking. Being able to analyze, like analyze evidence, see what's here, what's not here, what is here, who wrote it, what perspective are. I mean, you've already gone over it, right? You already know how history is done. We just don't use it in our everyday lives.
Right.
The way that history is done is what's crucial. Right? It's being able to interpret and tell a story based on what you see. But what's the point of telling the story? It is always forward. It's always forward thinking. It's about who we are, who we become, what we choose to do, what kind of city we want to be,
Right.
what kind of person you want to be. It starts with you and turns into a nation, right? It's that zoom out every step. That's why history is the most important. It's not so we remember what happened. It's so we know what to do in the future.
Speaking of the future, where can people find you? Because people are, myself included, like, I need more.
Yeah. Well, I am honored and privileged to be the president and CEO of Historic Locust Grove, which is the home of the Clark and the Cron families.
Yep.
It is a site of local, state, and national importance, and there aren't many of those around. We are really trying to become the Louisville History Museum that we don't have. And it's a 55-acre site that those woods have been intact since it was colonized. So it's a beautiful, we have so many beautiful things there, the house included, but the woods are our greatest asset. So you can always come to Locust Grove, as I mentioned.
Fun.
It is a National Historic Landmark and a Louisville Metro Park. So it belongs to the people.
It's the People's Park.
You can have your prom photos taken there.
I was going to say, I'm sure it's beautiful to take pictures.
Do a hike in the woods.
Yeah.
You can rent the facilities. So that's where I work.
That's where you're at.
But I also, I'm proud to be a part of several different organizations. I have been on the board of Happy Birthday Park for a long time. I was very involved as a community advisory council member at Louisville Public Media. I love those organizations.
Yeah.
I've also worked at Farmington and the Portland Museum and the Culbertson Mansion.
Yeah.
I worked in Frankfurt for 5 years.
And you still came back to Louisville.
Oh, I've been trying to work in Louisville for a long time, for sure. So, yes. And then also you can just find me online.
Yeah.
I have the socials. I was there
You
with
have
the
the
beginning
things.
of social media. I told you I'm an Xer.
Same. I'm an elder millennial, so I do remember the changeover.
Did you have Friendster?
No, I didn't have Friendster.
Do you remember Friendster?
No,
You started with MySpace.
I started with, AIM kind of felt like social media.
Yeah.
If you break it all down, what
Yeah.
social media, that felt like social media, way more exclusive, right? Because, you have smallest, then MySpace, and then Facebook when it became only for colleges. And then I was, a teenager suddenly, a middle schooler suddenly in college.
Yeah.
So I could have Facebook.
Yeah.
So I do.
that funny?
I saw the transition and the change, and now my oldest can't stand social media. So it's like, history.
I mean, honestly, the kids crave. They don't know it, but they do crave real world.
They do. He does. He loves history.
Yeah.
He's 15. I think he has Instagram, but even then he said, I just don't care about it. It's his social footprint. And I
That's
thought,
a good
how
kid.
interesting.
That's a good kid you got.
Between that and, my age is where it went wild, and it looks like it's going back to let's put our feet in grass. Remember what it feels like to be outside?
Yeah.
So
Well, we've got plenty of it. You come anytime.
perfect.
Yeah.
He'll
It's
love
always
it.
open, dawn to dusk. Now, there are times for guided tours, and we have an unbelievable host of programming.
Okay.
I'm also on the US 250 committee for Louisville Metro, and I'm hoping that we form a Louisville 250 committee because in May of 2028, Louisville will celebrate its 250th anniversary.
Well, please let me know if there's anything I can ever do to help in any of your things.
Absolutely. I'd
I'd
love
be
to come
happy
back.
to.
This is good company.
Hey,
Do you like
you
that?
set me up and you bookend me at the end. I don't know how this could have been better. Are you ready to get out of here?
I'll stay all day.